everyone, and welcome to ABC World, Voice of Pan-Africanism, and welcome to our weekly program, Addis Dialogue. This dialogue is a program where we select scholarly points and issues and invite professionals to discuss on that certain or specific issues. So today I am joined by Dr. Demelash Mengistu. He is Assistant Professor of Intercultural Communication and Public Diplomacy at Jimma University. The point we have selected for a discussion is Ethiopia's pursuit of sea outlet diplomatically. So we are going to raise very crucial and interesting points. Please do stay with us. Dr. Demelash, first of all, I'd like to appreciate for the time you gave us to discuss on these crucial pointers as well for becoming our guest on Addis Dialogue program. Thank you very much indeed.
My pleasure. And the pleasure is mine. And I'm very much happy for having me in your program.
Right, the point of discussion we have selected for today's Addis Dialogue program is Ethiopia's pursuit to sea outlets, right? Based on your understanding, what are the historical and the geopolitical factors that have contributed to Ethiopia's pursuit of sea outlets?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question. Ethiopia's pursuit of a sea outlet has been influenced by, we can say, several political, geopolitical, and historical factors. And these geopolitical and historical factors have influenced different activities of the country. Then Ethiopia, for instance, to begin with, Ethiopia became a landlocked country in 1993 when Eritrea gained independence. As a landlocked nation, Ethiopia has faced different challenges in exporting goods. We don't have our own port, we don't have our own maritime opportunity, therefore we began buying or renting others. This by itself has a direct impact on our economic activities, and access to international market to the country is highly influenced or impacted. So this has a direct relationship with the being landlocked.
But basically, could you please pinpoint some economical and foreign impacts that Ethiopia has been facing so far because of being a landlocked country?
I think this is a very good question because all Ethiopians should understand the impact of being landlocked. Ethiopia's landlocked status has significantly impacted its economic development and foreign affairs in several ways. You can think of different ways in which I might not even mention. Others can also think in a different way. Even books cannot be tell you, or you cannot find in books. The first impact is trade limitation. Our trade culture was or is highly limited. For the past 3-4 decades, our export and import activities were highly limited. This being landlocked has actually significantly impacted our economic activity. That's number one. Dependency on neighbors. Maybe the third one is our foreign investment highly limited as a result of this being landlocked. In short, Ethiopia's being landlocked status has created different and lots of problems. These are few of them to mention.
So having said that, what are the potential and legal diplomatic strategies that Ethiopia could follow in order to achieve this goal to sea outlets?
Yeah, we have to look for the safest side. Now, instead of inviting the nation to conflict, I mean the region to conflict, including the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, even the people prefer to finish it with a diplomatic strategy. So what are these diplomatic strategies? Number one, we have to identify and know international treaty or international treaty and agreement with regard to, okay, the use of these ports. Now our number increases from time to time. The population, I mean the country's population. So what does that mean? We need the ports. We need necessarily. So what does the treaty say? And what does the international law and agreement say? So there is no international law in the world that blocks us not to use, okay, this chance. Okay? So we can re-initiate questioning the world in one way or another. The second very important strategy we need to use is regional cooperation. Regional cooperation is very important. Everybody lives for him or herself. Therefore, Djibouti needs us for herself, and Somalia needs Ethiopia for her own benefit. And we have to create a positive collaboration and cooperation and solve our just national or grand problems, challenges. Our problem now is the port. So we have to try to create collaboration and cooperation. And we have to also apply this Ethiopian, legal resources. What are our legal resources? What do we have? What corridor of land do we have with Eritrea, with Djibouti, and with Somalia? And what do they benefit if they leave this part for us, and if we leave this part for them, some part of it for them? That is a question we need to answer. What do they benefit if they leave some part of the land for us? Kind of corridor, I mean. And what do they benefit if we just give them additional chances of using Ethiopia's resources like water and our projects, mega projects? So we have to think that way diplomatically and negotiate with neighbors. Maybe diplomatic engagement is very important. Diplomats should know the country and give priority for the country for the country's benefit in one way or another. And the issue of public diplomacy again comes. For example, there are Somalians in Ethiopia, and there are Somalis in Somalia and Somaliland. Okay, what do this Somali population in the region of Somalia in Ethiopia could help us? Okay, in negotiating with the other Somalis. Okay, we can use their culture, because in terms of culture, in terms of language, in terms of religion, they are the same, but they are Ethiopians. Okay, Somalis in Ethiopia, they are Ethiopians, so they have to work for the peace of the region. So that is part of public diplomacy. And in, for example, Djibouti, we have these Somali people and Afar people, and we have Afar in Ethiopia, Afar in Eritrea, and these three countries use the one ethnic group, that is Afar, and we have to create a kind of public diplomacy. We need to have expertise in the region, in the area, to just apply this strategy. So public diplomacy is another very important strategy to succeed our negotiation or maritime right.
Well, Doctor, it has been a very interesting discussion we have had today. But to wrap up, this might be my final question. So, what are the potential regional implications and the challenges associated with Ethiopia's pursuit of a sea outlet?
So people compete, regions compete for access, for resources, and these geopolitical problems we shouldn't forget. We shouldn't undermine the geopolitical issues. It is an international issue. It's an international problem. Internationally, there are other governments, okay, international governments in the Horn, infrastructure and economic and infrastructure challenge. Economic challenge is usual. We are not receiving support from any other international donors and international or other governments from developed countries. And as a result of this, we are not exporting now what we want. We are not exporting what we have. So we are not gaining adequate, okay, economic access, or we don't have that much access. Therefore, it could create, okay, economic in terms of investment. I mean infrastructure. It could create lots of crisis on the country in one way or another. Ethnic and internal political issues is another impact it could potentially create, because some of the internal, I mean, I have to be bold this time and genuine. We are not internally, we are not united. We are not one. We have our own interest in different parts of the country. People are divided based on their own interest. They prioritize their own interest on the country or against the country, against the country's interest, I mean. Therefore, this could be a potential problem for Ethiopia's pursuit of a sea outlet.
Well, Doctor, it is my pleasure for coming to Jimma University and having you, and I'm really grateful for having this kind of discussion on regional and national issues. I would like to appreciate on behalf of Addis Dialogue, our weekly program on ABC World.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you very much for coming to Jimma, and hopefully we shall work together for the future.
Well, viewers, we have traveled some 350 kilometers away from the capital city of Addis Ababa, and we have arrived here at Jimma city for different purposes. Out of many, today I am joined by Dr. Demelash Mengistu, who is Assistant Professor of Intercultural Communication and Public Diplomacy at Jimma University. Our point of discussion for Addis Dialogue this week program was Ethiopia's pursuit of sea outlets. I hope you have gathered very crucial and important points from our discussion. This wrap up our today's program. Stay tuned with the rest of other programs of BBC World. I am Ogayo Mulani, host. Bye.